Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, adults of all ages, welcome to the Sideshow.
And we are here.
Oh, we are here. I just almost did it again. I really had to think about that. I was like, he's not going to do it again. He's going to say we're back.
Nope. Got to keep you guys on your toes.
That worked. That was good.
So we are, we did an episode of this yesterday or
We
day
did.
before and called it the opinion piece, and then had the brilliant idea to instead refer to it as the side piece, because we have the podcast, the side show, and now we have the side piece.
Yes.
These episodes are going to be opinion discussions that we have based off of specific topics that we got from our Patreon group, which I actually want to talk about Patreon a little bit. I'm going to do that after this. These discussions are things that come up in emails that are frequent.
Yes.
Things like
Repetitive themes.
cheating and
Porn.
corn for the algorithm.
Oh, this is going on YouTube.
Yep.
Corn. Infidelity, same-sex friendships.
Right. Validation, things like that.
Or opposite-sex friendships.
Yeah, we have to redo that one.
Yeah.
We could probably do that today.
We could.
Because it's going to tie into the attention one. So we were originally going to do these things in a 30-minute or less episode. We realized it's not possible. So now we're doing 2 to 3 within an hour, if that's what we want to do, and just kind of feel it out and go with how we feel. The last one we did was a little over an hour after editing. So we're going to do that. Speaking of the Patreon channel, if you guys do not follow on Patreon, you should. Patreon is the best way to support our channel besides doing super thanks on YouTube or sharing. If you don't want to do the financial thing, that's fine. We respect that. We appreciate your support either way. Did you just break your stuff?
No, I dropped my vape and it felt right into my tank top and my girls caught it. That was
Nice.
fantastic
Your
for
girls
me.
got your back.
Yeah.
If you don't want to support us financially, that's fine. You just can share this. Give it to people that you think is going to like it. If everybody shares this with 2 people, eventually we're going to be super on point with the podcast.
We would.
We are also upgrading the VIP tier of the podcast and adding a Discord channel, which I'm going to try to get up today
For Patreon?
for Patreon.
Okay.
What did I
specific-
say?
Well, you said just a podcasting channel.
The VIP.
The VIP
for Patreon.
on Patreon. So if
Right.
you pay $15 a month, you're going to have access to a Discord and 4 lives a month.
Yeah, as well as exclusive content and early release content,
Yep.
which I need to start. We're working on, and by we, I mean AJ's doing the work. I'm not doing shit on this one. He messaged me last night at like midnight and was like, hey, I think we should do this. And I'm like, I think that's a great fucking idea. You can handle that.
Discord?
No, on YouTube, he's trying to find a way to post early.
Okay.
So like we have 6 videos and a podcast recorded, backlogged right now.
Wow.
So, and we're recording today.
Yeah.
And I still have shit I haven't even edited yet. So the goal is to get them to release a day or 2 days early to the members on YouTube, because YouTube now has a membership program.
Crazy.
So we're gonna, if he can get that to work and I can copy a link and share it to Patreon, then it covers both channels and I don't have to worry about it. Because the prices for the YouTube members is the same as Patreon. We just get more of the Patreon earnings than YouTube is going to give us.
Right.
Trying to think if there's anything else that we need to discuss before we get into this. I'm slightly exhausted today. Like I don't really feel like doing a whole hell of a lot. You still have an empty wine bottle from the live last night. Hidden over there.
We ended the live and went straight to bed. They can't see it. Can they see it?
No, I can see it though. It blew. I know it's funny because it's the blue LED light back there is hitting it. And
Makes it look cool.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just jump into this then because there was something. I knew there was something else. I took a screenshot of something last night that I wanted to.
Are we talking about screenshots? Because I also have screenshots.
No, I mean we can absolutely do that if you want. I would prefer to do that for something else, but this ties into the boundaries episode, which is the episode 1 of the side piece, which we recorded and is done. I posted a clip
Okay.
to you TikTok, and somebody said, would you be willing to share some of her boundaries from a woman's perspective? They were meaning me, and no, I'm not going to speak from a woman's perspective because I'm not a woman.
Read that one more time.
Would you be willing to share some of her boundaries from a woman's perspective? Meaning women's boundaries, because of the conversation.
Oh, but they
that we had.
asked you to share my boundaries.
Right.
I,
Because it was on the clip I made.
okay. I'm sorry. I get super offended because I am my own human being. You can just ask me to explain for myself.
Right, but it was on the To Be Better podcast TikTok.
I know.
Okay.
I know. That was just my initial reaction. I'm
Right.
explaining myself. I'm not mad at this
Okay.
person.
I also tagged you in the comment, but because of everything that was going on your TikTok,
Yeah.
you didn't see it.
Oh, yeah. I had no idea that happened.
When we talked about contracts, expectations, and boundaries yesterday, or day before, whenever that was, I just edited it this morning, so it's in my head that it was yesterday. I actually think that it was 3 days ago.
Right.
We talked a lot about, like, I gave examples of, like, the bar and examples of, we talked about bachelor parties and things like that. So from a woman's standpoint, you are courting a man that you're not fucking on the first date or second date or third date. You are going into this scenario with the intent of trying to find a long-term life partner,
Right.
not a booty call, not somebody that you're only interested in for a couple months, not somebody you're going to use as a bank account, somebody that you want to be a long-term person in your life. As a woman, what are some of the boundaries that you have for a man that you would talk about in the first 5 dates?
Are they subscribed to anybody on OnlyFans?
For the dude. Oh, okay. Wow. Did not see that one coming. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. I don't do OnlyFans.
No, that would be one of the first couple of questions, like on the first few dates. That would be something I ask.
Would
like,
you would actually just throw that out there?
I
huh?
would.
Okay.
It can be an open discussion. If he says yeah, I'll be like, oh, okay, dope. What kind of shit are you into? Kind of like mask it as I'm trying to understand your sexual preferences. But if a man is subscribed to somebody on OnlyFans, that's a red flag to me specifically. I am not willing to be with a man who is going to give other women sexual attention while trying to build a relationship.
Right. Or pay them for nudity while
Yeah.
in a relationship. So in that scenario then, what if they say, okay, so you would just blatantly ask if they have an OnlyFans. You wouldn't ask how they feel about it?
I could.
I'm just curious on the
That
wording.
would probably that would be the better wording.
Okay. So if you ask me that, no, obviously you know how I feel about porn.
Right.
And that will be a discussion that we have on one of these. We might even have that today because you just
Yeah.
really opened the OnlyFans box.
You know, I don't want to be with somebody who watches porn.
Right.
I understand that for some people, they view that as a normal thing in relationships or whatever. That's dope. That works for you. Personally, I can't be with somebody who watches porn.
Right.
I view that as a form of cheating. You're giving your sexual desires and attention to another person on the internet.
Right. So in the event that you asked me about the OnlyFans and I said, yeah, I actually subscribe to a couple people who have OnlyFans. Your question would then be like, what are you into? Like that you would lead down the sexual lane. I'm only going by what you said a second ago.
I would probably lead it into the sexual lane and kind of be like, oh, what kind of things are you into? I might even throw out there like, hey, I'm into X, Y, and Z. And then just kind of like open up the floor a little bit, I suppose. I don't know. I would definitely want to know if they watch porn.
Right.
I'm
So-
not sure how I would word it because you're putting me on the spot right now.
Right.
And
Well-
I don't date. But I'm sure I would have a pre-rehearsed conversation planned out on how I'm going to approach on whether or not do they watch porn, and if they say yes or no, what that follow-up question would be.
So we've had conversations in previous podcasts where we have talked about being alone and doing the dirty work on yourself and getting a journal and listing out the things that you are willing to accept from a partner, and being able to know where your boundaries are ahead of time so that when you sit down to ask them your list of questions that you have predetermined,
Yeah.
that would be one of those times that you would want to bullet point that conversation so that when you sat down you would have that, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if somebody said, I pay for pictures of feet on OnlyFans? Or because we have friends who are super into feet, this is more for them than anything. But what if they're like, I don't know, that's the only way that I can subscribe to my favorite Twitch streamers thing. Like, because there
It's
are
not-
OnlyFans that are not just sexual. Like,
Right.
but would that throw you for a loop? Like if you had all these bullet points laid out and they hit you with some really weird shit, like I pay for pictures of cats. Like,
Yeah, I would if it was pictures of cats, dope. If you're paying for pictures of feet,
yeah.
I'd be like, okay, cool. I'm not into that, but that's cool. And then that would have to be something. Am I willing to overlook that?
Right.
To have another date with this person because I don't do the feet thing.
Yeah.
I really don't. And it makes me uncomfortable knowing that someone is going out of their way to pay $10 to $15 per foot photo. I don't know the going rate for
I don't
feet
know
pictures.
anything about OnlyFans. So
Just saying, it could be hundreds of dollars, but either way, you are giving somebody monetary value for photos of their feet.
Would you hit them with, well, I can send you pictures of my feet if you'd
About to
like to
say.
cash at me that money.
Well, it doesn't even have to be about the money. If like if we're dating and that's something you're into, I'll paint my toes for you. You want me to go get manicures? I'll get pedicures. If we're gonna do this thing and that's a sexual thing for you where you like looking at feet, I am now accepting that is a thing for you, and I'm going to have to adapt that.
Right.
Getting a pedicure and getting my feet done does absolutely nothing to me but make me feel good, and you're going to get something out of it. Hell yeah.
Right. So in that scenario, would you be willing to delete the OnlyFans if I'm sending you feet photos? Because these are 5 dates.
5 dates in.
So you
So-
have we have 5 dates to have these conversations.
Right. And with how busy I am, let's say there's a date every other week.
Sure.
Right. So this is 2 months of dating at this point. We're texting every day, all that kind of shit. I would 100%. I would probably be like throwing it out in a joking manner. Be like, hey, so I know you pay for that Jezebel's feet photos. Look at this pedicure I just got.
Yeah. Okay. There you
Send
go.
pictures, right?
Yeah.
And hopefully with that mindset, and I just kind of keep that up, it would kind of like make him back off a little bit.
Okay.
I'm paying for other feet photos. And then once I recognize it's a full-fledged thing for us, then I would say, since we're doing this now, it makes me uncomfortable. You're paying somebody else for feet photos.
Right. Okay. Didn't really have any intention of having an OnlyFans discussion or feet photo thing.
No, me either.
We're 11 minutes in and really went down a rabbit hole right there. But
Yeah.
I feel like that's a fun conversation. And
Yeah.
I think it's important to pull away from the definitives in these scenarios because you
Right.
never know what somebody's going to say.
No.
You may have somebody hit you with, I like furries, or you know what I mean? Like people have some things that they're into, and I'm not judging. You can be
Right.
whatever you're into. Be into it. Be happy. That's all that matters to me. Just
you
don't
know-
hurt anybody.
And even if it's somebody like, if someone's like, I want you to wear a tail. If you're truly into that person and them seeing you in a tail just kind of does it for them a little bit, putting on a tail means you're putting on a belt, or unless it's a butt.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
And you two motherfuckers need Jesus.
It depends on how you're wearing the tail.
Right. Or if someone's like, I want to see you in a maid outfit. I have a thing for anime chicks in maid outfits. You're out $30 and you're putting on something that might make you feel cute.
Yeah. I really didn't think this conversation was going to go this way. Okay, so what are some of your other boundaries? Because this is going to really spiral.
Okay. Other boundaries. So the first one is I'm not going to be with somebody who watches porn or pays somebody corn. I'm not going to be with somebody who watches corn. And I'm not going to be with somebody who is paying another female to see them in a sexual manner.
Okay.
I'm just not about that. I'm not knocking it, just not for me. Another hard boundary that would be a massive red flag for me if I'm on a date with somebody, say this is the 3rd or 4th date in, and every time we've gone on a date, they have bad mouthed somebody in their life. It doesn't even have to be the same person. If every date you're bad mouthing somebody in your life, that's a red flag for me.
Can you tell me why?
That shows me that it's a negative mindset. It shows me that the people who are in your life, who you are building friendships with, it could even be family members. I am somebody you're on date number 4 with. And so far, I've heard about Uncle Jim, your best friend Susie, and now I know what's going on with your brother and his wife. That makes me uncomfortable knowing long term there's a possibility of you divulging our marital whatever
I get
going
that.
on
I get
to
that.
people outside of the relationship. I'm not comfortable with that. What happens in my relationship or in my marriage stays in my relationship and my marriage.
Yeah, people gossip to you, they'll gossip about you.
Yeah.
100%.
That's a red flag I would look out for. And that's my hard boundary. We don't talk about a relationship outside of the relationship.
Okay.
Another
So,
one.
so for men specifically then.
Yes.
Okay.
Even not even just specifically to men. On a date, definitely. But I have chick friends. If I notice that my chick friend is constantly bad mouthing all of these other women, I know damn well you're going behind my back and bad mouthing me.
Right.
I don't play that game. But specifically for dates, I would look out for that 100%.
Okay.
And if they bad mouth their ex every single time,
I actually agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
If you were on a date with somebody and they are bad mouthing their previous partners,
Mm-hmm.
and every single one of their previous partners was a problem, it's not the partners.
right.
You are the common denominator in every one of your relationships, and if you can't take accountability for your shortcomings, it means you're not growing from them.
Right. Another boundary for me, first dates. You're not going to try and control what I do with my time. If we're 2 months in the dating and we're 5 or 6 dates in, and I tell you that I'm going out to lunch and you're questioning me where I'm going, who's going to be there, how long I'm going to be there, I need to be done with it in an X amount of time, that's a problem. Of course, I would divulge, hey, if we're 2 months into dating, I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going out to lunch with Jessica. And then you have a bunch of follow-up questions. How long have you known Jessica? Who else is going to be there? Why does that matter? We've been dating for 2 months. I told you, I gave you the courtesy. I don't even have to tell you where I'm going. I
Right.
gave you the courtesy of saying, I'm going to brunch with my friend Jessica. And that's the end of the conversation. If you continue to drill me and questioning, that gives off controlling behavior, and that's a massive red flag. And in a long-term relationship, my boundary is, okay, I'm recognizing that I'm having a whole scenario play in my head, and I have not said any of it.
Okay.
So the reason that is a red flag to me is because from that scenario, it can spring off from now he's trying to look into my cell phone. He's trying to go through text messages. He wants to see who I have in my contact list, and we're only 3 months into dating. Long term, a boundary for me is you have all my passwords. If you want my phone, you can pick up my phone at any time. But if you want to go through and dig through messages or photos, I would like that to be a conversation.
Right.
A boundary for me is we are sharing a life together, but I'm not looking to be controlled.
Okay.
So red flags like that in the beginning, long term, that's going to have issues with my boundaries in a relationship.
So in a scenario where somebody's asking those questions, where does the line get crossed from just trying to continue a conversation versus making you feel like they may be controlling? Because asking who Jessica is it could be just a harmless question,
Right, that would
trying
be-
to find out if it's your sister or your
Right.
cousin or your best friend. Like, you're 3 months in, and if you've
Yeah.
only been going on a date every other week, you're not, you're very much still, you don't know shit about this person.
Right.
So how does that
I
look?
probably worded that very poorly.
No, it was worded right. I just
Right.
want, as a man, I need to know how does that look, because I'm a very inquisitive person.
Right.
You can say some shit to me, and if I don't understand, I'm going to ask. Or if I don't know who that person is, I'm going to ask, because if there's an aunt I've never met or heard
Right.
of, I would like to know who they are.
I mean, that's very valid. If this is the first time I've ever mentioning Jessica, of course I would expect you to be like, oh, who is she? How long have you known her?
Right.
When it starts getting into, I'm really trying to think on this. I was not expecting you to hit me with, okay, now list off boundaries.
Yeah.
Because I haven't put any thought into
I know,
this.
because I forgot that was there, and we were going to say, I know. I'm sorry.
So it's okay. There's going to be a lot of pausing where you're going to have to cut out.
That's fine, but this is good. I mean, we're having good conversation right now.
Right.
There's a lot that people are going to get from this and be like, damn, I didn't think about that. Oh shit, I really should have thought about that. You know what I
Right.
mean?
So I guess for what I'm trying to articulate, the way that I phrased that was not appropriate.
Okay.
So the first conversation, if I'm going out with Jessica and the questions back and forth and explaining history, that's a totally normal scenario. I don't view that as a red flag or any type of controlling behavior. Now, the next instance, if I say, I went out to brunch with Jessica on Tuesday, and then Sunday we're going to go to brunch again. If I message him and I say, hey, going to brunch with Jessica, I'll text you at 2. If you then hit me with, you're going out with her again, I'll be like, what are you talking about? That would
Okay.
put me off
Yeah,
kilter
I
a
can
little
see
bit.
that. I can see that.
Or you see your friends too much. You hang out with your friends too much.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a controlling issue right off rip.
Yeah, that would definitely be a red flag to me, and that would make me take a step back and reevaluate, because long term, I know my boundaries.
Right.
You're not going to control who my friends are, especially if they've been in my life for years and there's no implications of them being inappropriate towards me or whatever. You're not going to control my circle. And I will definitely take your input on things. If, for example, you and I go out with my friends and 2 of my friends create a situation that makes you uncomfortable and you tell me that, now I have a choice, knowing that those 2 people made you feel uncomfortable in relation to whatever was happening, knowing it could happen again without you there. I have a choice to either put myself back into a situation knowing it's going to cause an issue in the home. That's a different scenario.
Right. Well, I also think that's more of a long-term thing, not a
Right.
5-week dating thing.
Well,
but
that's what I mean in the long-term thing.
I agree with that. And I also, to add, I also think that it's important that you don't control those actions, that you give your partner the ability to correct things.
Right.
By telling him, like, hey, this is what happened. It made me feel fucked up. I just want you to know about it, because now you either have the option of reaching out to Jessica and be like, hey, bitch, you don't do that shit to my man, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Or you go, well, they're my best friends, deal with it. Because now I know in
You're
a
not a
long-term
priority.
scenario that I'm not a priority, and that I'm 5th in line of succession to who's important to you.
You know, that could be like not a 5th or 6th date thing, but like 7 or 8 months into the relationship, if you guys are talking about moving in and things are progressing, that would definitely be a red flag of, oh, well, she's my best friend. You got to get over it. That would make me rethink my whole life choice because moving in is a really big commitment,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
But on the 5th or 6th date, if he's just saying you hang out with your friends too much or you just saw her 2 days ago, that would definitely be a red flag because, like I said, that long term, if I want to go to brunch with my friend with my friend Jessica on a Saturday and we want to go again on Thursday and we have nothing planned, I'm going to go to brunch.
Right.
You can't tell me I can't go to brunch. It's not interfering our plans. Everything in the house is taken care of. I'm not slacking on anything.
Right.
There is no logical reason for you to try to manipulate me like that. This is turning into red flags that lead into long-term issues with boundaries versus me just saying what my boundaries are.
It's fine though.
Okay.
You're still letting people know the things that you would be looking for, and I think
Okay.
that's what they were looking for. I don't think that there's anything wrong with setting expectations for your relationship very early on.
Right.
There's not a whole lot of things that I would be uncomfortable talking about on a first date. I'm not trying to talk about getting married. Like in the event that like marriage was in the cards for me and it was something I wanted, and marriage got brought up, like, hey, do you see yourself getting married in the next 10 years? You know, that's a conversation that I'm comfortable with.
Right.
But if a chick is like, I really want to get married, I mean, whoa,
Yeah.
no. I don't even know your name. Like,
Yeah.
I know your first name. What color are your eyes again? Yeah, we're
Yeah.
not having this conversation right now.
Right.
That's a different conversation than trying to find out people's goals in terms of children and marriage long term and all of that. In terms of other boundaries, like, you know, we talked about the bar thing. So
Right.
like porn is one of those things that you know that you're going to be like, that's a definitive. I'm not okay with that.
Right.
So let's look more into those things. Like if you had a guy who I don't know. I'm a homebody.
Right.
I don't do much of anything really. I'm a workaholic. So in that scenario, if you had a guy who worked 80 hours a week and he was like, I'm blue collar and I'm on oil rigs 3 weeks out of the month, we'll go with that one. Are you going to be okay knowing that you're only going to see this man for 1 week out of the month and half of that week is going to be him reacclimating to his home life because that may not be okay for you. And
Right.
so if that was a hard no for you, you would have to then have that conversation with that man and be like, well, you know, this is, I mean, though you make a lot of money and that's great, you have a great life, I need more time with my partner, so this may not work. And then you can have that conversation. So those kind of hard boundaries, I think, is more what they were looking for. But
Okay.
how would that work for you in terms of, like, if you met a guy and he said, I do this, and you're like, well, you can continue to do that, I'm not willing to be with you because of it.
Yeah, so I guess the bar is a great example. I'm not going to date a dude who goes to the bar every Friday and Saturday night, getting drunk and flirting with women, and I'm not about that. If I found that out on the first date, like you're leaving this date and going to the bar to get drunk, okay, dope. There's not going to be a second one.
Yeah.
And I'm not trashing on how you choose to live your life. I'm just not about that. That
So-
doesn't make me happy.
What if there was somebody who got drunk every night
No.
at home? The same thing. So it's the drinking that's an issue.
Okay, I wouldn't say drinking is the issue. There's a difference between drinking and there's a difference between getting shit-faced.
Okay.
If I am with a man who comes home and he likes to enjoy a beer or two, okay, cool. If you are like downing a fifth of vodka and then chasing it with shots, I'm not about that life. I am not looking to get constantly, I almost said effed up.
Yeah, I get that.
That's not for me. I like having my wits about me. I drink wine and that's it. And like last night, I had that little bottle. I didn't even drink all of that. Once I recognized I was getting buzzed, I was done.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to get sloppy. I don't want to not be aware of my surroundings and how I'm behaving in those things. I'm not about that. And if you are, cool. You live your life the way you choose to live your life. And if I was on a date with a man and he divulged that to me, say that he was drinking and I didn't know to the extent, and then we started having sleepovers. And then I noticed every time I spent the night, he's getting shit-faced.
I love that you called them sleepovers. You wearing your onesie over there?
I mean, yeah, I would.
That's funny.
I mean, that's what it is. I'm spending the night. It's a sleepover.
Yeah.
And if I'm recognizing every time I'm spending the night, so if I'm going to Kyle's house 3 nights a week, and those 3 nights he's constantly getting shit-faced, I can deduct from that probably every night he's doing it. You can see the amount of liquor somebody has in their home. You can see how much alcohol they've consumed in the trash can they're recycling. You can puzzle the pieces of the puzzle. You can put it together.
Like words. You
right.
can put the words together. Would you be able to notice that on the first date though? Like,
No, not on the first date.
You don't think so? Like somebody who's an actual alcoholic that sits down and orders a drink right away and then orders another and then orders another.
I think alcoholics are smarter than that.
You think so?
I think they are able to mask themselves. If they are lonely enough and they want to get into a relationship, the alcoholics know that their drinking is a problem.
Yeah.
I am an alcoholic. I recognize my drinking is a problem. That's why when I recognize I get buzzed, I stop.
Yeah.
I don't want to get past that point because once I get past that point, I don't stop. I know alcoholics. I know how they can mask themselves. I know functioning alcoholics who are able to go to work, live a completely functioning life, and nobody knows they're an alcoholic.
Right.
So on the first date, if they're going like shot after shot after shot after shot, then I'd be like, okay, this is a little bit too much for me. In a real life scenario, I don't think on the first date I'd be able to tell that they're an alcoholic.
I watch for things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because so when somebody sits down and has a drink, a drink is normal.
Right.
You have a drink before your meal, it will relax you. You'll be a little bit more free flowing with conversation. It's normal. But if they down that drink and the waiter comes by and orders food and they ask for another drink, and then while they're eating, they ask for another drink, that's a huge problem for me.
I agree with that. That's definitely a red flag.
Because I don't want to, don't want to have to deal with somebody who's drunk in public that I barely know. You know what I mean? So, but there's also alcoholics who could drink 5 or 6 drinks and not be shit-faced.
Right.
So, but yeah, that was just a question on my end because I think that I would notice that right away, or at least within the first 5 dates, I would see
Right.
that because as they get more comfortable, they're going to start drinking on the dates.
So within the first 5 dates, definitely. If I recognize that they are becoming more comfortable and they're letting loose more, and then like after the 3rd date and we're on our 6th date, and the last 3 days they have just been sloppy. I'm cutting ties. I'm not enjoying myself. And it really doesn't even have to be an explanation to their drinking. It's just, we've gone on the dates we have. I'm just not really feeling anything. We can be friends. You're a dope person. I don't foresee this being a long-term relationship.
Okay. I'm going to segue my next question into the first point of the side piece. Would you have the conversation in the first 5 or 6 dates about thirst trap videos and showing extra attention to girls' Instagrams on the internet? Do you think that's something that would get brought up? Like if you saw them on the phone the entire time but I mean, at this point, I'm going to assume that you would have checked out their social media because everybody does that.
Right. So
Is that a conversation that you would have with a man, or would you
within the
just,
first 5 dates?
Yeah.
Yes, it would be.
how would that look?
If I put thought into it, it would probably look a lot different than what I'm about to say.
I'm really not trying to put you on the
Right,
spot.
I know.
I'm just trying to. I really want to give younger people a scenario
Right.
to have the important conversations because there's a lot of people out there that feel like us that are young that can't have these conversations because people
It's
are like,
not
you're fucking
normalized.
stupid.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like, I don't want that. I want people to be able to go, okay, this makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
How would I approach that situation?
So I would probably begin it with I wouldn't outright ask, do you follow thirst traps on whatever? I would probably tie it into, something that I've really had to work on in myself is the damage that came from an ex who constantly gave other women attention on social media.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Because now you're making it about you.
Right.
That's good. That's actually really smart. Psychologically, that's very smart.
That's how I would approach it. And follow up, whatever. The conversation would delve into that it's something that makes me uncomfortable. And going forward, that's something that I just can't tolerate in a relationship. And I would definitely gauge on how they're reacting to the conversation, but I would definitely point out that that's just something I can't have in my relationship.
Right. That's good. I was actually thinking about that when I asked you the question because I wouldn't date a woman who was constantly thirst trapping.
Right.
If you're taking pictures of your new eyebrow piercing and this much of the photo is your tits and
Yeah.
that much of it's your eyebrow piercing, that's not, you're showing your tits. Like,
You're looking for attention.
right. So I wouldn't even know how to broach that subject because
Right.
I would check their social media hard on the first or second date. And if I saw that that's all it was, I would just stop going out because I'm not even willing to have that conversation because I don't want to be labeled as controlling, but I also don't want to vie for the attention from the person that I'm trying to court versus I can't match what's going on the internet.
Right.
And if you need that constant attention and validation from everyone on the internet, I can't keep up with that. I have too much going on to try to chase that down.
Right. I even
So-
said that in the card. Like, no man can compete with the millions of men on the internet giving out attention.
Right. And I don't even know how I would have that conversation in the event that like say I didn't social media check them and we're 3 dates in and like I really have a connection with this person and like they're checking all or or whatever, somebody else is doing the date thing. I'm not trying to put me in that scenario, but all those boxes are checked. You may have a connection with that person and then you see that and it could be a conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah.
I don't know how that conversation would look because there's not an easy way to broach that subject.
So if I were a man and I was on a couple of dates with a woman and I found out after saying like, damn, like this could be the one, recognizing that she's thirst trapping and stuff, I would bring up, so I've noticed you have your social media accounts. From my past relationships, that is a very hard thing for me. I'm not asking you to stop doing it. I'm just letting you know I have a lot of baggage I've worked through in myself and building up my self-worth due to somebody else in my past getting random attention from men, and that led to infidelity. And it's not that you don't trust the person. It's that that's just something that going forward in the relationship, not that you would ask them to delete the Instagram or whatever they have going on. I think prefacing it with, would you be willing to be less active
Yeah.
if we're in a committed relationship? That's different than trying to control and say, you need to delete your Instagram for
Right.
us to have a relationship.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that there's not a scenario that conversation could be had from a man's point of view where it's not going to be labeled as controlling or
Because men are always
manipulative,
wrong.
right? Because we hear that even when you were speaking just now in my head, I hear people going, well, that's his problem.
Right.
That's his trauma. He should get over that.
Right. But in the same breath, a woman telling a man that she doesn't want him giving other women attention on the internet, well, that's her problem. She's insecure.
Right. But no, they're not allowed to have that, the
Right.
role reversal.
I just wanted to make that known that is definitely the same thing.
I think I only have that in my head currently because that's all I've heard for the last 24 hours on that video about boundaries
Right.
that I posted to my TikTok. But that plays, all of that plays directly into attention outside of relationships and OnlyFans questions
Okay.
for this episode. What do you think is an acceptable level of outside attention? Because you're going to get it no matter what.
Right.
Your integrity is not compromised when somebody's doing something to you. Your integrity is compromised when you engage.
Right.
So if somebody sends, we've had this conversation, so I know your answer on this, so I'm just going to say it. If somebody sends you a DM, hey, you looked really good in that dress, you're gonna be like, wait a minute,
Inappropriate.
that's inappropriate. You don't do that to me privately. If you want to compliment my outfit, you can do that publicly so that everyone can see it and everybody knows what's going on.
That's not even complimenting the outfit. When someone says you looked really good in that dress, you're complimenting my body
Yeah.
in the dress. You're not complimenting the dress, and that's why I find it inappropriate.
So for men, how do men compliment a woman's attire without, I almost said slut shaming them, but that's not even remotely the right word. Without objectifying them. That's the
When
right
you
word.
give a compliment, you don't include you.
Okay. I really like that dress.
That's a really nice dress.
Okay.
I like the color of your dress. That pattern's dope.
Okay.
I like your shorts.
So you really should be complimenting the clothes and not the way the clothes fit the person.
Correct.
Okay. So then, what are some other scenarios where outside of attention is like, crossing the boundary but on a low level? Because I want to ramp
Crossing the boundary, but on a low level, to where someone could be like, "But I didn't mean it that way," and get away with
this up.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When there is a couple and they post a photo together, and somebody only compliments the woman,
Okay.
I find that inappropriate.
Okay. I can see that.
Right.
You're a cute couple,
You're a
or
cute
you guys
couple.
look really good together.
Yeah, this is an amazing photo of you two.
Yeah.
If there's a couple, like if you and I post a photo and somebody only compliments, "Damn girl, you look good,"
Yeah.
or "You look really great in that dress," from a man in a photo of us,
Okay.
That's a problem.
Yeah, I can see that, and I could see how that would, because of the context of the picture.
right?
That scenario could be like, well, I was just complimenting your outfit. You're
Right.
blowing this out of proportion. I can see that. Okay. All right. So, we are both avid people when it comes to, not engaging with other people's photos or inappropriate comments,
Yeah.
things like that. So when people are, so I'm a judgmental prick, and that when I see girls constantly posting selfies, even if it's people we know, I show you and talk shit about them.
Yeah.
I do. Especially if they're married, and like,
Oh, yeah.
it bothers me. And it's not my relationship. I can't say shit. But if I'm friends with a man and I'm constantly seeing that shit, I'm like, bro, I want to be like, dude, you realize that your woman is attention starved. Like, you're either not doing your job at home, you're not laying it down properly, or she's got some fucking serious issues that she
Right.
needs validation from the internet.
There's massive insecurity there.
Right. And
Definitely.
I never do that. I never say anything. I say it to you and then we drop it.
Right. Before you keep going, I am a woman who used to constantly post photos of myself because I wanted that outside validation of you're pretty, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, you're curvy.
Right.
I used to constantly just photobomb photos of myself because I craved the outside validation that even though I was overweight or even though I don't look like Kim Kardashian, I'm still pretty in the eyes of the general public.
Right.
I've stopped doing that because now I am satisfied with who I am and how I am as a person. And you definitely give me enough attention. So there is definitely a mindset behind constantly posting selfies and getting the attention.
Right. And I think it's important to also add to that there are times that it's okay that you're not thirst trapping. Like if you bought a new dog and you're holding your dog and you take a picture of it and you're in the picture, you're showing your dog off. Like, it's
Right.
not like, look at my boobs.
Yeah.
It's not look at my booty, unless you're holding the dog and you're turned sideways with your fucking ass poked out. Like,
Right.
you guys need to be able to look at this and go, okay, that's obviously for attention, or, oh shit, they got a new motorcycle or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Another example, specifically towards women, if you just bought a new outfit that's pushing your comfort zone and you're feeling good in that outfit, post the photo.
Right.
That's not thirst trapping. That is you showing you're pushing your comfort zone and you're still gaining confidence from it. If you have spent 6 days working on a cosplay outfit and you put it on, you're like, damn, this looks really good. I look just like the character. Post the photo.
Right.
That's not thirst trapping. What we are speaking on is specifically women who constantly post photos of themselves in provocative poses or mainly cleavage. We know what you look like. We don't have to constantly see your face posted all over your Facebook. I would rather see things about your family or your life journey or whatever spiritual journey you're going on.
Right. I'm gonna devil's advocate, and then I'm gonna segue into a man thing as well.
Okay.
At what point, when you are pushing your comfort zone or you are rocking that dope ass cosplay, do you delete the photo because the comments can start getting out of control? Like, if men start going in, damn girl, you look really good, or you look amazing, whatever, and then, or even the cosplay thing, like, look at that booty, or whatever. Where does that line get crossed? And do you address it in the comments publicly to be like, hey, that's inappropriate, or do you just go, okay, fuck this and delete the photo?
So I would never say fuck this and delete the photo. If I spent, like I said, 6 days working on a cosplay outfit, like 10 hours a day, I've put 60 hours into this outfit, and I post it and people want to act up in the comments, that's not my problem.
Okay.
I am proud of the work that I've put into this. And if someone in the comments says your ass looks amazing in that, that's a problem. My focus in this photo is not my ass. It's the hard work that I put into my outfit.
Okay, do you address that?
I do address that,
Okay.
and that's exactly what I would say.
Okay.
Don't objectify me because you're somebody who can't control your primal urges.
Ooh, I gotta put urges on this list. That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
Okay, so from a man's point, right? Because we've been hitting the woman's thirst trapping thing, and I want to be inclusive here.
Okay.
Which, as much as I hate that term, there are a lot of men who post pictures of them in the gym
Right.
or their abs showing, whatever. I did a weight loss journey,
Right.
and I was sending you my photos 1st, and I was like, I feel like I look okay right now, but I'm still super insecure about this. I want to post it to show that I've lost 80 pounds. And you're like, post it, babe, show that shit off.
Yeah.
And I did. And someone made a comment to you like, oh, look, he's thirst trapping. And you told me. And I deleted every single one of those photos off my socials. I don't want to be viewed that way. So as a man, you can thirst trap too by doing that shit. If you're in a relationship and you're posting gym selfies, you're doing it because you want the same type of attention a woman does. If you are doing it because you've lost a bunch of weight, by definition, you are doing it for attention. You want people to see your progress. You want to show, hey, I look good right now. I feel
want the
good about
acknowledgement.
myself. Yes, you want the validation. But there is a point where it goes from you trying to get validation to you trying to get unnecessary, unwarranted attention from people on the internet.
Right.
And you have to be aware of that, because if you feel like you don't want to be a woman or be with a woman who's constantly posting thirsty photos, and you're going to the gym and posting, veiny, look at me, look at my abs, laying in bed with your fucking shirt pulled up,
Yeah.
like, you're doing the exact same thing. You can't You can't do that. Like you
Right.
can't expect somebody to hold a standard that you yourself are not willing to set
Right.
and adhere.
100%.
And I only say that because I see a lot of dudes doing that, but I know how I felt when I heard that. It changed a lot in me when somebody said that I was thirst trapped, because I really wasn't. I was actually,
you were posting weight loss progress.
right. And there was posts in those specific photos, they were actually side by side photos of me being fat and not as fat. But I was also on my personal Instagram for, posting because I was starting to show abdominal muscles. Like I was starting to get into the best shape of my life.
Right. You were seeing the hard work you were putting into your body.
Right. But knowing that somebody viewed me like that, even as a joke, made me so uncomfortable that I deleted all that shit.
Yep.
And I will never post another progress photo on the internet ever again because I don't want to be viewed as somebody that just needs attention. If I'm proud of something, I want to be proud of it. And I do want to show it off, but I don't want to show it off and somebody go, well, he just wants attention. I want recognition.
Right.
There's a very different scenario for somebody going, hell yeah, bro, you fucking did that shit, or good job, you look great, versus damn, look at that ass.
Right.
Or,
100%.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So like how you people approach the things that you're seeing on the internet will actually dictate a lot.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that we actually even have to have these conversations because 30 years ago, this wasn't a thing.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. Obviously, because the technology wasn't there, but
Right.
you gonna talk about OnlyFans?
Yes.
Because this was the discussion that was being had.
Well, before we even get into that, I wanted to talk about the photo that I sent you of me in the gym. And I was like, can I post this on Facebook?
Right.
So I want to talk about that
Okay.
real quick. Because of the whole attention seeking and whatnot. I don't want to be someone who posts photos for attention seeking. I don't want to be viewed that way. And I'm finally seeing definition from my shoulder to my bicep and my arm from working out.
Right.
And I was stoked. And I sent you a photo and I made a joke. And in the photo, I'm wearing a sports bra and my leggings so you could see my stomach. And it is not wrong for women who want to post gym photos like that. Dope, do it. I'm not knocking that. But I sent you that photo knowing our relationship and our traditional values. I asked you, is it okay if I post this photo? Because I am stoked about my muscle right now. And you cropped the photo so you couldn't see my stomach and you said you can post this one. And I was like, dope, thanks. And I posted it. That's it. When you are posting something to get recognition and acknowledgement that you're doing the hard work and people can see that and you get, fuck yeah, keep going from other people in the gym.
Yeah.
That's different from me posting my full body with my stomach hanging out and posting that being like, look at my muscle, but you can see all of my curves.
Right.
It's also about how you present yourself is my point. It's about how you present yourself on the internet and the type of photos that you post.
So this will actually tie in because we want to talk about modeling and OnlyFans. So if you were an influencer, God, I hate that fucking term too, because technically we are influencers.
Right.
If you did the influencer thing and part of your shtick was that you were a gym model and you had to do the little stance where one leg's behind the other and you push your butt out to get, the perfect round peach so that everybody can double tap your photo to show your leggings or whatever the case may be. That's a very different scenario than just doing it to get attention, because you're doing it to sell leggings. You're doing it to...
It's a brand.
Yeah, right. Because there are people like Mini Beast on Instagram who has made an entire career. She's got $1 million business now based off of her influencer status because of the way she markets herself and does the thing. I believe she's also married,
Right.
and like has a dope relationship with her husband, and like he's totally okay with what she's doing because it's building her brand.
Right. And in that instance, that's not thirst trapping.
Right. It's
That's branding, it's marketing.
actual modeling at that
Right.
point. Right.
That is 100% different versus Kelsey, who posts 300 photos in a week of herself, and that's all she posts on her Facebook.
Right.
Two different scenarios.
So, but I just wanted to me, there is a difference in that.
Oh, yeah.
And so much so that I have actually bought you clothing from her.
Yeah, you have.
So, because, I like the clothes and I follow her. I like her brand. I like what she's done. She did it all by herself. There was no money given to her. She
Right.
did
She
it.
grew this from the ground.
Right. And I respect the shit out of that. And I'm more likely to support people who didn't have it handed to them. You know what I
Right.
mean? Anyways. But I think that falls into actual modeling, because people are like, well, models do it. Well, if you call yourself #model on Instagram, it doesn't mean you're a model.
Right.
If you are somebody that actually gets paid to model clothing, that's different than you showing your body off.
It is.
If you are a
If you're an influencer, your brand is an influencer, you're an influencer, not a model.
Right.
You being an Instagram model and posting in your bikini is not the same thing as what Mini Beast does.
Right.
You can't compare the two.
Right. Yeah. There's a guy that I follow on TikTok. His name, I think, is Marcus Fit. He's a physique competitor. Dude is shredded year round.
Yeah.
But that's his thing. Like, he has to stay shredded because that's how he's selling his online coaching. It's how he sells t-shirts and all that shit, because people see that and want to look like him. You know what I mean? It makes sense that that's what he's doing. And I also know that a lot of is that super snug?
What is?
I mean, does everything move okay? Because those cords look wrapped around the thing.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
move
Okay.
fine.
I do know that there are a lot of bodybuilders and shit that do OnlyFans, like professional bodybuilders, because I follow a lot of them on Instagram and TikTok, and like they will at times talk about it, and
Right.
it's extra income for them. But when those guys, aside from the amount of money they spend on drugs every year, the amount of money that they spend on food, they get supplement contracts. Like, they have to do things to supplement their income so their entire life can revolve around bodybuilding.
Right.
I don't hate on them for it. But if I was a chick, I wouldn't want to date a dude that was doing that and putting himself out there. Just like as a dude, I wouldn't want to date a woman who's putting herself out there for other people to spank their shit to.
Yeah, I would not be with a dude who has an OnlyFans.
Right. So in the event that, like, on a first or second date or third date or fourth date, I found out that the chick was doing spicy content, I would ask them, like, is this something that you're planning on doing long term? Because if this is how you make your money, that's dope. Do you? But I don't want my woman being viewed by other men and objectified, because it's going to make me feel however it's going to make me feel.
Right.
So in that scenario, that's a conversation that needs to be had on a date. But I don't think that people should be shunned for doing OnlyFans.
No, they really shouldn't.
Right. I think that if that's what you want to do, that's your life. Do
Yeah.
whatever the fuck you want to do, but don't expect somebody to just accept those things.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you can't expect somebody to support those things. If it goes against their religion, it goes against their belief system.
Right.
You can't force that on them, just like they can't force their religion on you.
Right.
It's acceptance all around. We can agree to disagree.
Right. Do you think that there's okay. Do you think that there's a fuck? I know that in that scenario, I would just be blunt.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool that you do that. I don't want my woman to do that. I'm not trying to ask you to stop. I'm just going to tell you right now that I'm not willing to move this date any further, knowing that you do that. So when you're done doing that, if I'm still single and you want to approach me, we can have that conversation then. But I would end that whole shit right then and there. I'm not going to shun them. I really don't give a shit what you're doing. You're not hurting anyone. I'm just not going to put myself in a position to feel any type of way because I respect me.
Right.
Is there an easier way to put that that's not shitting on somebody? Because
Probably.
I feel like there's, I feel like in that scenario, I don't feel like I'm shitting on them. I feel like that's kind of aggressive, but I know that I'm not okay with that. So I'm just done with this right now.
It's not even being aggressive. You're just matter of fact about it.
Yeah.
Like, you can't change my mind on this. I can't change your mind on this. This is how it's going to be.
Right.
You do OnlyFans. That's dope for you. You have your career. You're living your life the best way that you want to, and you're happy. That's not my path.
Right.
That is not the path that I want to go down. I want to go in a different direction. And if that's not something that you want to stop doing to be in a relationship with me, I respect that.
Right. Okay. And I just thought of this just now because we asked, like, what are they doing on OnlyFans? I really should have said that in the beginning of this, just like I did in the last one. At what point is your OnlyFans date? Where is it acceptable? If you find out that they are only selling bikini photos, would you accept that? Because they're in a bikini, they're covered. They're not shoving cucumbers in weird places. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they're not performing sexual acts for money. They're literally just selling photos of themselves.
Well, they're not performing sexual acts for money, but they know that the bikini photos are being sold for sexual intentions.
I'm sure they are, but they're not exposed. Like,
Right. I mean, I would still say they are exposed.
yeah,
You have your tits and your ass covered, but everything else is exposed. If there's side boob going on, you're exposed.
yeah.
If your ass is hanging out, you're wearing a thong, a bit like a thong bikini, you're exposed. I guess it's to the extent of what a man is comfortable with his woman doing, knowing that other men are getting sexual gratification from it.
Right. Well, I only asked that because there's women who post those photos on Instagram,
Right.
and men spank it to those.
Right.
So-
but that falls into the category of someone thirst trapping on the internet.
Right. I get that. I'm only playing devil's advocate on
No,
this.
I get that.
There's got to be a scenario where, like, I don't know, like, in the event that if you were a lawyer, right, and you're making $250,000 a year as a lawyer,
Right.
and you're selling pictures of yourself on OnlyFans just because you know you can. You're young. Why the fuck not? If you can make an extra $100,000 a year and you are not doing anything inappropriate, you are in a bikini,
Right.
you're just posing. I mean, that's technically modeling. When you think about it, the only difference is you're not getting in magazines, you're
Yeah.
not being published, but you are getting paid a fuck ton of money to model bikinis.
So if women on Instagram are getting paid for their thirst traps, would you still consider that
Or
modeling?
do they?
I mean, I think they can.
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I mean, it depends on how. So yes,
So
okay.
there's
If they're
a
making
very-
$30 a month, no.
There's a very flimsy definition when it comes to a model.
Right.
I can take a picture of myself, sell it to somebody for $10 and say I'm a model.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
Right.
So I think
but
there
I could say because I sold them my photo and it's a photo of me in these clothings, I'm a model.
I agree with that.
It's a very flimsy definition.
Right.
And
I definitely agree that this is a slippery slope.
it is. And me being who I am, even if I were a man and I was with somebody who was posting provocative things on the internet, with the knowledge that I have, knowing women who have done the OnlyFans thing and have done the whole sexual thing on the internet, 9 out of 10 of them, from my understanding, regret ever doing it because
Right.
now it's affecting their families, it's affecting their children, it's affecting their careers. As a man, I'm just not willing to be put in that position because if I date this woman, she stops OnlyFans, but she's been doing it for 5 years, and then in 10 years, she's had this bank job making 6 figures, and then people blow her shit up and say, I can't believe you did this,
Yep.
and all of a sudden she's fired. That's fucking my life up. And now we don't know how we're going to pay our mortgage. We don't know where our groceries are coming from. Those long-term ramifications are something that I think about.
Yeah, I get that.
That's not worth it to me. And, you know, like I said, you can live your life how you want to. I'm not saying a woman posting bikini photos on the internet is going to ruin her life in 10 years.
Right, of course not.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the things that I have seen from women who have experienced that, it's not worth it to me.
Right. Okay, so on the modeling thing,
Yeah.
because I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm really trying not to be the interrupted guy. I do it all the time, though. If Mini Beast reached out to you,
Yeah.
she saw your little flex photo
Right.
and was like, I'll give you $50,000 a year if you post 2 photos a week in my clothing. And they're leggings and sports bras.
Okay.
Would you do that?
I would talk to you about it first.
What if I was okay with it? Even knowing, because I know damn well the moment you do that, you're going to be fucking hit on constantly on the internet.
Right.
And I have to accept that. I can't be like, yeah, do that shit, babe. Make that money. And then
And then
me
get
get
upset.
jealous. Right. So
Right.
knowing the moment you post a photo, dudes are going to be fucking drooling on you and commenting you and saying inappropriate shit and look at that booty. And
Right.
I have to accept that's going to be a thing.
So if you accept that and you say you're okay with it, I will do it. But if her terms are, well, your ass has to be the focus of the photo, I'm not doing
Okay.
it.
So there's boundaries.
There are
Absolutely.
boundaries.
Okay.
If the focus of the photo is me in the sports bra, but all you can see is my tits and my stomach, I have a problem with that.
Okay. Because it's objectifying you.
Right. If I can put on the clothing and have you take a photo of me while I'm doing like a cable exercise,
Right.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Because at that point, I am modeling the clothes for what their intended use is.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay. You look like you weren't expecting me to say that.
No, I'm processing this conversation. The OnlyFans conversation, I really thought was just going to be a cut and dry. I'm not okay with that next.
Right.
But
There's different levels.
I am really trying to cover all bases so that people can't go, well, what about this? What
Right.
about that? Like, I am really trying to think about things. Knowing that you are getting into shape, knowing that you were 320 pounds at one point and you can see definition in your arms when you flex, knowing that you are still out there doing the gym thing, even when I don't go out there and work out with you, if somebody recognized your efforts and wanted you to model their clothing and was going to pay you for it, and I'm not talking $10 a photo,
Right.
unless it was $10 for every photo. But like if they offered you a contract of $25,000 to $40,000 a year to work out in their clothes and take photos of it because you're an influencer, I would support that
Right.
because it's going to boost your confidence. You're showing your fucking hard work.
Right.
And it's showing you exercising. It's not showing you just posing with your ass out. Like you're
Right.
not twerking in fucking leggings. Like
yeah. I would also make it a point in that instance to where I am not taking photos of me doing any glute exercises. I see how men drool over women because I follow trainers on TikTok.
Right.
I see how men drool over women who are literally doing educational videos on how to do glute exercises. So knowing that, I am not going to take a photo of me doing a glute exercise because I don't want that attention.
Yeah.
Like I said, I could do a bicep photo. I could do something with my lats.
Well, what if it was a leggings thing and they actually wanted you to do your leg lifts or your hip thrusts
So
in a video for Instagram, for a reel or a TikTok video?
if you want me to do something that highlights me working out in your leggings, I would do a leg press,
Okay.
a seated leg press, like with my back. I would do, I think they're called like the Bulgarian lunges. I would do something like that. I'm not doing hip thrusts. I am not doing anything where I'm on my hands and knees where my ass is the focus.
Okay.
That's not happening. There are workouts that I can do that emphasize me in the leggings doing workouts focused on the leggings, but it doesn't have to be something that can be sexualized.
Okay.
What?
It's just a lot. It's just a lot to think about. I really truly did not think that we were going to have a conversation that would get this deep because
Right.
this is technically not OnlyFans, but this could be viewed as modeling.
It could be.
It's for somebody that works at 19 years old at McDonald's who goes to the gym and has a natural physique that looks good.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody offered them $25,000 a year to take photos and post them on Instagram at 19 years old, that's more than they're making at McDonald's.
Right.
They're going to do that while still working at McDonald's and they're going to double their income. I can't knock that hustle.
Right.
But there's got to be a way to do it in a tasteful manner that is not going to fuck up the rest of your life. And in the event that you become a major influencer and have 10 million followers and get to create your own brand and it all starts from that one scenario, like that's a very different thing. And you have to really weigh these options. It's not a very cut and dry thing. I think the cut and dry thing comes where you are performing sexual acts on the internet for other people to get off on.
I agree with that.
That is where my hard limit would be. Anything beyond OnlyFans, I would be willing to discuss.
I agree with that. Yeah, definitely. Anything beyond OnlyFans.
Right.
I was just thinking, if you're with somebody who posts bikini photos on Instagram and you're okay with that, that's dope. That would kind of be a hard boundary for me if I were a man because I don't want my woman to be sexualized in the eye of every man. And of course, that's going to happen anyway.
Right.
Just her existing, men are going to sexualize her. But if we can draw that back with her not posting provocative things on Instagram, I would prefer that in my relationship. Right. Not saying a woman has to change who she is. I just have to find somebody with the same preference.
Right.
Now, when it comes to OnlyFans, selling bikini photos on OnlyFans, in my mind, is still a sexual act because you know it is going to be sexualized by the people purchasing your photo.
Right. It makes sense.
It's definitely two different areas, though. If you're okay with someone posting photos on Instagram, they could just be showing out their new bikini photo at the beach with their friends. That is 100% different than selling them on on OnlyFans.
Right. I actually think that for me, the OnlyFans limit would be the actual sexual act part.
Really?
I do, because Bunny makes tons of money on OnlyFans married to Jelly Roll.
Right.
And I'm almost positive that all of her shit is lingerie because she used to post some of the photos from the photo shoots on Instagram.
Yeah.
And like, I look at that and like, I know that they have their relationship the way that they have their relationship. And I don't want to speak on that, but I don't know. I think that I don't think that.
Would you be comfortable if I posted lingerie photos with our marriage on OnlyFans?
I honestly, I don't know. And that's what I was literally just sitting here trying to think, because part of me, this is going to sound really bad. Part of me would be like, that's my fucking woman, bro. Like these
Right.
motherfucking scrubs out here are paying to see my woman in lingerie and I get that for free. Like,
Right.
and there is definitely a part of me that's like,
It's a flex.
fuck yeah, it is. And it and my ego is like,
Right.
but I also know that there's a part of me that goes, that's fucking mine, and you don't need to be looking at that.
Right.
And there's definitely a scale there that I would really, if that conversation ever came up, it would take me a while to really come to grips with the way that I would want to look at that. I don't know if I would be able to do it, but I also don't think that I would have super hatred towards it, if that makes sense.
So I wouldn't say I would have hatred towards it. If I were in your dilemma, I would lean, even if I didn't know how I'd feel, I would be conservative and say, I just don't like it.
Right.
Because if I start doing it and into it, you're like, fuck yeah, that's my woman. I'm going to hype her up. And then 3 weeks in, you're seeing 500 men in the comments of those photos saying, I wish I could fuck her.
Do they have comment sections on OnlyFans?
I don't know.
I've never even looked at the OnlyFans website. I don't
Yeah.
know anything about it.
I have no idea how it works. This is pure speculation, but that's something that could be a possibility.
Right.
Or
I also think that would also come down to the strength of your relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I really don't know.
I mean, it does definitely come down to the strength of your relationship. If if you're a woman who has an OnlyFans, don't get with a man who's insecure.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
that's going
yeah.
to be constant conflict. You need to find a man who's secure in himself and has no issues with you doing with what you're doing with your body. You guys can have a dope ass relationship and you can still do your OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Because that man is secure. He's not going to get jealous. And then if later on down the road, after 6 months of being together, he's like, this is really affecting me in a way I never thought it would because I'm seeing how men are pining after you. I'm feeling insecure. Then that can be a different conversation.
Oh, I agree 100%. I'm hung up on the jealous thing
Yeah.
on my part because I don't. This sounds so arrogant. I know for a fact there's nothing on the planet that another man can offer you that I can't besides like a yacht. You know what I mean? And
Right, I'm not even interested in
You're
that.
not a superficial person. Like
Right.
I check all of your boxes. We've had this discussion a lot.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, like when we post the photos that we posted on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
where like I've got your choker in my finger, and people are like, "Oh my God, this is so hot." It makes me feel good. Like that photo is of you, and
Right.
the only thing that's in that photo is my arm.
I don't even think when I hear that, I don't even think that they're looking at me and saying that it's hot. It's the premise of the photo.
Right.
It's the idea behind the photo that's attractive to people.
Okay, you don't think that it's you?
I don't think that it's me, no.
Okay, I think it is.
Yeah.
The photo itself is not. It's not spicy.
No, it's not. It's my face
it
with you
is-
pulling a necklace.
Right, but
It's-
it is intent.
Right. It's the domination in the photo that people are attracted to.
Right.
It's the submission in the photo that people are attracted to. I don't think that it's me that they're attracted to. It's the thought of the dynamic that are like, damn, that's hot.
Yeah. So what if some? Okay, I hate this. I really don't want to have this conversation. I got to be honest. This is not making me feel good.
No.
The conversation about all this, because I have never thought about any of this.
Right.
And now that I'm sitting here with fucking cameras on me, having a conversation about what is and what is not acceptable in terms of what if scenarios with us, these are private conversations that should be had between a man and his partner or a woman and her partner. Like this is not a. I don't know. I think that I'm becoming uncomfortable with this because we're recording, but I want to continue because this is important.
Right. Well, I think these are people who don't know how to handle these conversations. We're giving them ideas.
I don't know how to handle this
Right.
conversation.
And you're processing it in front of them.
Right. What that entire series of photos we've posted on Instagram just because we're
Right.
fucking proud of them, right?
And there is a photo, I believe, on Instagram. Is it the one of us where our foreheads are touching and we're wrapped in each other's arms? Is that photo on Instagram?
It is on Instagram.
Right. And that we're both shirtless.
Yeah.
But you cannot see anything on me.
No, I made it a point to make sure that your arm and my arm was covering
Right.
everything from being seen.
You can see my back and you can see my stomach.
Right.
That photo in our eyes is appropriate because you are in that photo and it is very clear that you and I are together.
I agree with that.
That is the only reason we posted that photo. If it was just a photo of me nude being covered up, that's
Right.
inappropriate.
So that photo is actually intimate as fuck to me when I
It
see it
is.
because I remember how I felt when we took that picture.
Yeah.
If another couple or even we, okay, let's say we because we've already taken those pictures. If we had an OnlyFans where we took photos that were like the photos that we posted on Instagram and sold them, does that cross an it's not okay because people could be spanking their shit to it or double clicking their mouse.
I view that as different because we're both involved in that.
Right.
They're not just, if they're spanking it, they're not just spanking it to me. It's the idea of both of us because you're the dominating factor. If people are spanking it to those photos, it's because of the submission that they see from me to you. It's the power dynamic.
Okay.
It's less focused on the woman. It's more focused of what's going on in the picture between two people.
This is not dinner conversation.
No, it's not. Did what I say just make sense?
No,
though?
it
Okay.
absolutely did because it's the content of the image.
Right.
And I get that. They say that if you create a piece of art and it evokes an emotion in somebody, no matter how horrible the art is, you're an artist.
Right.
And those pictures do exactly that. Whether it's love or hate or admiration or disgust, people are getting an emotional response from those photos. And when I
Right.
look at those because of that, it is artistic to me. But I also have a personal attachment to all of those images because we were at the peak of our, almost the peak of our weight loss. And like we were super intimate. And like there was just so much going on in our lives at that point where we took those pictures that like to me that's going to be, I think that group of photos is probably going to be the most significant group of photos I've ever taken in my life.
Yeah, that was definitely the time frame that those photos were taken were definitely I don't want to say monumental time in our relationship, but it's definitely a time that stands out
Yeah,
for us.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So of course those mean more to me than just the image. But there was a photo that I posted on my Facebook 11 years ago, and it came up, and I took it off and sent it to you the other day, and I was like, I want to redo this photo.
Right.
Because when I looked at that photo 11 years ago, I thought, oh my God, that's passionate. It's intimate. It's sexy. And
It's what you wanted.
right. And it wasn't even like, it was literally just, you could see two heads and a hand. Like it
Right.
wasn't like an overly sexualized
It wasn't even full body
image.
photos.
Right.
Or a photo.
But see, there are people who do things like that. I mean, I know there are people who do the shibari that have OnlyFans that only do shibari, and they tie people up and show you how to tie knots and things like that because
That's educational.
right. But I've seen those on TikTok, and people are like, go see my Instagram for it, and they do a little chili pepper.
Right.
So I know that they're going to probably be naked when they do the shibari, but like they are showing people how to tie those knots, and they are doing a thing there, and like I don't think that you can learn shibari on YouTube. They show you how to tie the knots, and they
do.
do it with people clothed. So like you can learn that without having to pay or having to see someone naked to do it. So there are still ways to learn that.
Right.
But for people who are in that community that find that a thing, like if we were both into that and we did pay for a spicy website to learn how to do it, I think that it would be different if we were both watching it together, learning how to do that because we're a part of that community versus me being into shibari and you not, and me watching OnlyFans.
Right.
I feel like these conversations need to be had.
I
I
agree.
think it's a lot deeper than just going, oh, you do OnlyFans? Yeah, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Right. And none of this is shitting on anybody.
No, not at all.
It doesn't matter to what extent your OnlyFans in. It's if you're doing cucumbers or special requests
Right.
in playtime, that's your life. I can't negatively judge you for that. That doesn't impact me.
Right.
I don't care how you live your life. We're talking about the different levels of what somebody would be comfortable with when other people sexualize their partner.
Right.
And that's it. And this is a super in-depth conversation. You know, I've never even thought about the different levels of an OnlyFans
I didn't either until we sat down.
because to me, even selling bikini photos on OnlyFans, that makes me uncomfortable.
Right.
If I were a man, I wouldn't want to be, or even a lesbian, I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with a woman who is selling her body for sexual reasons to get money. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing or you're a piece of shit human being if you are a sex worker. I'm just saying that makes me uncomfortable.
Right. And that's okay.
And that is okay.
All right.
How far are we into this recording?
1 hour and 8 minutes.
Wow.
Do you want to do another one? Or you want to stop?
Let's pause because I do have to use the restroom.
So just stop.
Yeah, and then let's get into another one.
Okay. So normally we do these as 2 to 3 in a video, but
Right.
we did the YouTube comment first and then got to that one. And that was almost an hour
Yeah.
of us talking about that. So I think that that's good for that video or this video. So let's cut this one, go to the next one, and then it'll make my editing process a lot easier.
Okay.
Dope. See you guys on the next one.
Bye, guys.
For those of you who enjoy our content and would like to support us and help grow the channel, the easiest way to do that is a super chat here on YouTube. For those of you who really, really like the content and would like to see more of it, check out our Patreon group. It gets exclusive content that will never be seen here on YouTube, early release stuff for those of you who are just as impatient as I am, as well as live streams with a live chat every Friday night. If you can't afford to do either one of those or you're just not into that, the next best thing that you can do is share this with people who you feel may vibe with it. No matter how you decide to support us, it's super dope and we thank you.